And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Summary of week 3. And oh boy, has it been a week, huh? Got the legend Cam with me today for a quick summary of what we covered in this lovely, juicy week 3. And that's the week where everything should slowly fall together, as you understood a lot of combinations of things right now. So we digged into, of course, all the cycle variations. We started week 2 with the normal daily cycle, gave you all the timing confluences of how to use it, right? But obviously only showed you one cycle variation so far. But in week 3, boom, there you go. London knockout, retail heaven, Asia whip. So everything there is, and again, there's not more. There's the full daily cycle, there's a London knockout, there's retail heavens, and again, as you can see here, even 2 times retail heaven, but only one retail heaven, right? And then Asia web source. That's it. Sometimes, of course, the cycle variations can be a little bit cribbled, but guess what? They don't have more. They don't have more. There's no more cycle variations. Of course, all of them should not be perfect all the time. That's completely understandable. That's just for over the bigger picture analyzation and realization that you understand what to expect and what should happen next, and prepare for that. For example, if you look at the Asia website, is insane. If those happen, again, we give you the ultimate guide on even of what to look for, when it should happen, and all that stuff. It's insane, right? And what else, Cam? What did we have as well?
Then we also introduced you to the entry helper, which is obviously quite exciting. As always, you need to be looking at the entry helper only after you've had a complete cycle. We don't want to be seeing anyone trading completely off the entry helper. That's not how we use
That
it.
will be penalized. If you see like random
Exactly.
let trades and then you ask us why there's not this let to work out, penalized.
Bam.
Boom.
Gone. So yeah, we don't want to see anything like that. But obviously, as a final confluence, it's great. It's really good, right? And then we also went through some more additional confluences. Obviously, the Asia high and low bounce, which combines really nicely with your retail heaven daily cycles. Then also Asia midline, again, can combine really nice with your retail heaven daily cycles. Then we got some more liquidity points for you guys to look at. Yesterday's high and low, and as well as the weekly high and low. We don't really want to be setting limits on those, but you can maybe trade the reaction if everything else is there. But you do need to be wary that those are going to be pretty big liquidity points that we are going to look for price to take them out. And then obviously also the day open. So those were the additional confluences that we added this week. And then if Reem wants to go on to the further steps of the simplicity approach that we added.
Of course. And just to add again for the confluences, again, that's your key zones where you always should monitor price action, because something most likely will gonna happen there, because that's the zones where liquidity lines, right? And as Cam said, if you expect a retail heaven and then again Asia mid or low, or even high, again, depending on what direction the retail heaven will fold up with, then again, that's juicy liquidity spots. And if one of them also lines up with the open price, for example, the midline, right? Obviously, that would make the most sense. Then it's even nicer, right? Because then again, you're having 2 liquidity stones already stacked up. Perfect. And then again, if it's also a normal build-up before an inducement low into, again, I showed you some example when I even gave you the introduction of the entry helper itself. And then again, then you combine it with an letter and EDM. And if that all combines and you had a cycle before, and then even maybe timing is on the minute, magic manipulation minutes, boom. Again, you see you stacking so much real reasons this time. Not again, like, oh, it's Ichimoku cloud and a Fibonacci retracement. Bullshit. No, you're acting literally or adding stuff that literally works, not like random retail shit, okay? Then again, entry helper, what's the approach we got it from? Literally the most successful hedge fund in the entire industry. Again, we use it for equilibrium and liquid, always a liquid equilibrium, and when it touches, price action touches the equilibrium, then we interest another confluence. Boom, 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 boom. Everything backed, obviously, right? Simplicity approach. Part 2 this time. Again, we had the build-up, the inducement, the early break of structure, mitigation. Now we're adding the smart money trap to understand, again, where's the liquidity, where we should not get trapped into, add the timing on top of that, and finally the entry helper. But you can see everything again builds upon each other. Build up leads to the inducement. Inducement leads to the relevant breaker structure. Relevant breaker structure leads to the mitigation. Mitigation leads to understanding of where the smart money traps should be. The smart money traps, again, or like technically the mitigation should happen with the right timing. And then again, if you have entry helper confirmation, boom! But everything, obviously, look at it. It's all backed by these steps. So guess what? It will be very hard for you if you follow this properly to make a big mistake. Because again, you don't go here, oh, let me look at charts today. Oh, let me take it. No, guess what? Oh, you only forgot 7 other steps. Don't do that, right? Start with the build-up. Don't, oh, is this a mitigation right now? No. Where's your build-up? Where's your inducement? Where's your break of structure? Then you can look at the mitigation. That's how you should do it, right? And of course, you also got access to this lovely thing. Again, if you don't like it, not a problem. We highly recommend it to you because it will definitely keep you away from making shit up, but can be dangerous if it leads to making shit up. Again, if you're one of those people, maybe like, oh, entry helper, EDM. No. That's again why it's all the way at the end of the simplicity approach. And then, boom, it becomes very powerful. And as Cam said earlier, only after cycle unfolded, then you look at the entry helper. Okay, perfect. Of course, we have a lot of tasks for you this week, right? So Cam, what are one of these tasks?
All right, so like Reem said, lots of tasks this week, so we expect some good stuff. So starting off, we've obviously introduced you to 4 daily cycle variations, and for each of these daily cycle variations, we want you to show 2 examples for each of them with detailed markups. So we don't just want, oh yeah, this is retail heaven, oh yeah, this is Asia whipsaw. No, we want detailed markups with your build-ups, inducement, mitigations, your cycles, everything. We don't want to see just randomly, oh yeah, I show you a Asia whipsaw or I show you a London knockout with no markings. We don't want that. We want you guys are at a point where you need to be really going for it. Again, this benefits you guys. You need to put in the work, and so we don't want any silliness. Then next up,
it's not that again we will be like, wow, that's a beautiful marker which benefits us. No, again, as Cam said, it's for you. If you don't do it properly, you're just playing yourself. But again, at this week going further, we will be very strict with the homework as well, right? Because again, it's for your own benefit. We have to make sure you grasp everything before you continue. And again, it will not want you to trade anyways and know how to execute and everything before you understand what you do. It would be very silly from both of us, like again, from both of them, I mean, you as the quote unquote student and us from the mentors, that it would just give you the, oh, and that's how you trade it now, if you don't even understand it. It's very important that you understand the concepts first. And then again, in week 4, we show you more training, but then slowly digging into how to use it and how to actually trade it. But before that, make the hell sure you understand what's going on. That's again, you can. Our guideline list shows 2 examples for every cycle variation with detailed markups, as Cam said, but do more. There's not 2. Again, ask Sakba, ask me, ask Cam of how many markups we have. Thousands. So guess what? 2 markups will not get you too far, right? So you will have a good understanding, but make more. But 2 is the minimum you have to give us, right? Then what else, Cam?
And then next up, we've got 1 full week on the M15. And this is showing all of your cycle variations for that week, why you could maybe expect those variations. You know, maybe we've had like, we've built equal highs, we've taken equal highs, and now we expect, okay, London knockout. Or maybe we've built equal highs with Asia and something on the left, and then we expect a London knockout. Or we actually take those equal highs within Asia, you know, vector candles. Obviously we'd prefer if it wasn't, but sometimes that happens as well. And then we get our retail heaven. Or, you know, we've had medium inducement to the downside in London Open, and then New York trap comes around, we have a medium inducement to the upside, and then we can understand, okay, we get our lit starter kit. So again, we want you to be marking up detailed. We don't just want, Here's a couple lines. We want to understand why. So you want to be marking up, your mitigations, your potential SMTs. Why is it an SMT? Your liquidity, why you shouldn't trade, why you shouldn't maybe take trades, where you should be patient and maybe wait for the inducement. We want you to really understand, because it's good marking it up in hindsight, but in hindsight, you know what's going to happen. So with your hindsight markups, you should be preparing yourself to transition into live. How would I approach this in a way that if I was on the edge and I could only see from this point, how would I know that that's a smart money trap? How would I know to wait for the inducement here? Stuff like this, right? So that's what we want you to show on the M15, and that's 1 full week. So that'll be 5 days.
Exactly. So, and as we had, again, don't mention it here in the first one, but should be very self-explanatory at this point. That's the M5, right? That's the M5, that's the M15, and then do 1 hour chart, zoom out. I showed an example also how that should look. We will show you also examples later. Just zoom out and give us the reasons why these cycle variations happen based on the higher time frame. Right, so give us the higher time frame analysis, mark it up, same analysis as always. Again, we had a very good questions already. Well, the question was, okay, is all the time, like, how do you trade higher time frames? It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. The build-up, inducement, mitigation, relative break of structure, all that stuff. It's always the same. It doesn't matter. So just try to train your eye also on that concept. That the higher time frames is just a longer period you wait technically, but again, it's perfectly exactly the same. Then show us how to use it properly. Okay, but then again, on the 1 hour chart, if you zoom out, there's probably whatever 2-3 weeks of price action in it, depending on how far you zoom out and how big your monitor is, right? Then show 3 examples where the additional confluences would help you to get into a trade. Again, the additional confluences can also, of course, be entry helper, but like yesterday high, yesterday low, weekly high, weekly low, like these good major liquidity zones, Asia high, Asia mid, and obviously not entry helper that far. Entry helper is down here, right? Then mark up 5 full days with the simplicity approach. Now we have it obviously very detailed, as Cam said, right? Again, simplicity approach all the way until the entry helper. That markups alone should take you a lot, right? Because it's we did these markups obviously a lot of times as well, and they are taking a lot of time. So don't underestimate that. And then again, the power will unfold as you're training truly your eye on what's going on. There's huge power of marking up simplicity approach because you just understand the overall price action, right? So Cam, what about the entry helper tasks?
And then we want you to show 5 let mitigations. Again, this is always going to be after the inducement. What do we want first? Build up inducement mitigation, cycle complete, lovely, and then we go to the entry helper. So we want you to show us 5 let mitigations after an inducement, and then we want you to show us 5 EDM trades after an inducement. Ideally, it would go build up inducement mitigation, then your let, then your EDM, right? Because that's the entry helper cycle as well. Reem's obviously just drawing this out right now.
So yeah, exactly. The best case, again, this is technically then you having 2 birds with 1 stone. But guess what? This happens a lot of times anyways. So if you have like the ideal Mona Lisa scenario, we have the build up, the inducement, the break of structure, the mitigation being a let, and then obviously the next potential trade being an EDM. That's your Mona Lisa shit. And then obviously you have 1 example here, 1 example here already. So find 5 of those ideally. If not, then find 5 of each separately. Okay, but there's a lot. And then the last task, and that will be a fun one and also challenging one for you. So get your feet wet. It's time again to not mess around anymore because it's week 3 done, technically, almost, at least until you did these tasks. And you have to get into it now. So on the edge examples and practice. Real life practice, right? So at least 3 days of quote unquote live practice. It's just those markups on the edge, so you get a feeling for it of how it literally works in real life. Get used to the timing aspect. Oh, 5 minute charts, I have to wait like 1 hour until something happens. I have to so get a feeling for it. And again, I showed you the simplicity approach on the live on the edge as well as one of the examples. So use that again of reference of how it should look like. We give you some examples of that as well. But 3 days live practice of it. And then you will notice what you do wrong, what you do right, how long it takes, and everything. That again prepares you to the next stage, would be actually you trying to get involved in week 4. Right? Not yet just to practice live, but it's also a live practice. It's not, you don't need to press and trade or whatever. No, just mark it up live and get a feeling for it. Okay, so let's dig into the task of how it should look like.
All right, so let's show you some examples of the tasks, right? So we've got major liquidity lying here, and then come the end of Asia, we build equal highs, take them out, what timing? London open, okay, and then price comes down in New York trap, equal lows, major liquidity right here, vectors down, New York trap, okay, interesting. That's obviously going to be the lit starter kit or the full daily cycle. And now we've had a major inducement, right? So we want to be trading away from that. Okay, makes sense. So when we have the inducement low here in London open, and we know that, okay, we're trading away from this major inducement, we can begin to think, okay, maybe this is the London knockout daily cycle, right? And we're going to be trading away from this for the rest of the day. And then again, the next day, because we're still trading away from our major inducement, we haven't reached a significant point yet, which is this mitigation, we can expect, okay, here we see that we get the Asia high bounce into a retail heaven to continue higher. And then you can see that, okay, we're building liquidity above, ready for the next day. Wonder what could happen there, right?
What a coincidence it would be, right?
Of course, of course.
And exactly what Cam just explained very briefly, but very detailed. We want to see that. Again, make some sort of like whatever bubble here and point to that and say like blah, 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 and whatever, write something in here. Also shows the 1 hour why this is a major one. Again, 1, 2, 3 lows on the age on the 1 hour, right? Probably there's something to the left also to be a quadruple bottom, takes it out, huge liquidity here with the whatever, also quadruple top in here, huge imbalance. So like show us that stuff and then give us a fancy drawing, show us your beautiful hand art or whatever, and draw us the cycle variations and put it on top of it so we see you understand what's going on, right? So that's a brief one. Then again, we have an example for the M15. We will not dig into that too much, so just so you see of how it should look like or can look like. Right, again, M15 chart now, same stuff as Cam just explained, right? You show us on hindsight this time, right? Again, what's the cycle variation? Okay, induced high, comes back to some sort of Asia midline areas. Again, doesn't need to be that M5 analysis this time, just to give it a bigger picture. Build up, inducement low, goes higher. All that stuff on M15 is the same, right? Again, then this next day, on knockout, next day, starter kit, next day, London knockout, next day, perfect starter kit. Okay, so just show us that and show us again the simplicity approach onto it and how it all plays perfectly aligned. Build up into Asia, induced high. Asia high is not an inducement we should look for, but still, what does this do? Takes out this triple top in here and mitigates something to the left. So this cycle done. What's the next cycle? Taking out Asia low, obviously here. That did it. Boom. What's the build up? Medium inducement into what? Mitigation of this medium inducement. What a coincidence. When does it happen? Oh, only London open to the minute. So guess what it become? Boom, never induced Asia high yet. So boom, we aim for that. London knockout, perfect. So show us that stuff, okay? Show it us. And then next task would be the 1 hour. Again, we will not cover this one too much. I made a very long video about this specific, 3 weeks of price action in here, and even gave you then a live example in here, and even explained you my 1 to 100 trade in here, right? So it's all there for you. If you want to see that again, just go back in the Simplicity Approach Master Guide. I think that's the video about it. If you want to see the higher time frame analysis as well. But as you can already see, it's the same stuff as the 50-minute and the M5, isn't it? Right. So next one, Cam, what do we have in here?
So next we have the simplicity approach. Obviously, we want you to go all the way. We also want you to go all the way up to entry helper. So for example, if I remember this day correctly, this was an M5 let. So go, okay, yeah, this here was an M5 let combined with our London close mitigation, right? So we want all of the other steps. That's your liquidity buildups, your inducements, relevant break of structure, mitigation, smart money trap, timing, and finally entry helper. We want you to show all of those steps. Okay, perfect. And then, Reem, do you want to cover this one?
Yeah, sure. Again, you just said entry helper, so I skipped the slide because of the entry helper wasn't in here, right? So again, show us the entry helper, show us that you understand what an EDM is, very important. Show us the right way of using it. Again, this time is just like an normal EDM of the M1 in combination with the M5. So it's an EDM inside an EDM, even nicer. So show us of obviously how you can identify it properly. Just give us a few examples about that. Same thing, again, this one, obviously on a Mona Lisa scenarios, where you have Asia range to build up. Right, inducement happens obviously this time a little bit earlier. So Frankfurt and almost London open, so perfect time. There's a break of structure in here. Obviously, that's the push that led to the high. Here's a break of structure. Here's your imbalances. Here's your mitigation, and what a surprise. Here's your let, and then obviously it continues, right? Show us that stuff of our combination, and then almost the last example. Again, where you make your feet wet this time, go to the live chart. Show us it's a live chart. Give us some projections out there and show what you do. Again, you can mess up at the beginning. No one will gonna judge you if it's completely wrong. It's for your own benefit. Get used to it. Practice it live. Go to the charts and just get your feet wet. Very, very important. Do 3 days of that. Again, if it's completely messed up, obviously you have to do a few more. If it's partially fine, paused. Okay, then you paused it. And then last example, again, more entry helper stuff. Examples of entry helper, get used to this example. It's the same stuff all over again, right? Mona Lisa days in a row, you can see it all the time. Build up, inducement, what you look for, let, and EDMs, right? EDMs didn't happen here. Perfect. Next day. What is it? Inducement low, break of structure, into mitigation, let, boom. Where's the EDM? Here. Boom. EDM, show us, okay? What's the thing? Takes out Asia high or stays short of it, whatever cycle is completed, perfect. Break of structure, boom, into what? Let. Okay, what's the next thing? EDM, boom. Next day, inducement high, break of structure, into mitigation, what is it? Let. Again, this one, you should also get used to it. That is kind of a solid black at some point, so it touched obviously equilibrium, boom. Okay, cycle continues, build up, vector candle, inducement, break of structure, into mitigation, what is it? Let. Boom. What's the next thing? EDM. Boom! And spend a lot of time. Again, as you can see, this talks alone should take you a while. Okay, so get used to it, have fun, and learn a lot. Cheers.